Hi everybody, it's Nick McDonald here. Welcome to this week's US Equity Markets Commentary. Looking at the Russell here on a monthly chart, as expected the monthly chart has continued in its uptrend and has continued to make higher lows and has now pushed up through this previous high we had on the chart, which also formed resistance around that 740 to 750 zone. It's very good to see that clean break up through there and a monthly candle currently up above that level and looking like continuing on. We really have nothing now in the way, nothing stopping the price until we get up to around about 800. So this is purely looking at the monthly chart first of all. We're at 754 right now, and we're looking up around 800 as the next level of potential resistance, based on one being a big number of 800, but also being an area where in the past we have found support and resistance before. Let's come down from the monthly chart and have a look at the weekly. You can see just how clear this zone was, this previous support come resistance zone at 740 to 750. Price has been hitting up against that even in very recent times and really struggling, and we've now broken up, and here we've had a weekly close above that level, which makes it particularly good. So that weekly close is really strong, and again we're not really seeing any major resistance in the way. We might get a little bit in the way before 800, so up around here we've got some old support and resistance, so definitely around 780, but that puts us in the 780 to 800 range, which still means that based on the trends here on the weekly and the monthly charts, and based on resistance being in the way, there's nothing stopping the price from rallying around about another 25 full points from here. So this is looking very positive, and again on the weekly, uptrending, higher highs, higher lows, no resistance in the way, everything there looking strong, all things pointing north. Coming down to the daily, and we're just seeing a very similar picture. We're making higher highs and higher lows. We've broken up through this resistance area, we've broken up, we've pushed on, and everything here is looking pretty good. Now the only thing that I will say is that any uptrend has its pullbacks, and I'm looking here trying to do a commentary for a week, and while I think that over the coming weeks and months we should be back up testing that upper 780 to 800 level, and we may even push straight up there this week, the one thing is that as price moves away from its averages, it always pulls back into them, and we've just had a good move away. We've had a really nice 3-day rally. Now this rally could continue a lot further, but it also could have a small pullback. So I'm really expecting price to continue up, but also understanding that pullbacks can and do occur, and that is in fact very, very likely and almost a certainty at some stage. Be that this week or next week, we'll be looking for a small pullback back into the averages on the daily, maybe even on the weekly chart, before continuing on up. But as it stands, market's looking very bullish, and my stance remains that on the Russell. Let's just have a quick look at a couple of the cash markets. Start with the Nasdaq, because the Nasdaq is in a similar position and very, very strong. So here you'll see on the weekly chart that the Nasdaq had smashed right up through previous resistance, right up now, and really testing these this previous high, and having pulled back nicely into that weekly buy zone. Like I just said, the Russell could do a similar thing, but pull back into that weekly buy zone, small green and a bullish candle, breaking up through the high. I'm expecting the next test to push up through this previous high, and it still remains the strongest looking index market out there, and looking like continuing on up. Come and have a look at this on a monthly chart, and that previous high looks almost insignificant, being just one touch, and I'm expecting the Nasdaq to come up and be testing that level. The one market that shows a slight bit of concern is actually on the S&P. And when I say slight bit of concern, it's quite simply that now the S&P has formed quite a strong resistance area here, and we've failed to get up through it. So we got up ever so slightly through here a few weeks back, and we failed that. We rejected that level, and now we're testing it again. So this is previous resistance, previous support now becoming resistance. And we need to see the market push through that. I believe it will, because I believe the S&P will be led by the other markets like the Russell, like the Nasdaq, like the Dow, which are all looking strong and all breaking resistance. But this is just the one slight reason for caution this week, that we could find resistance there again. Time will tell in the very early part of this week. As soon as the markets open up for trading, we should see where this is opening up, and within a day or two we should see if we're going to be pushing up through there, or if we're likely to be failing there again. Even if we did fail there again, it would still be fine, still be looking bullish, unless we broke down through these levels. So ultimately that's the only thing that could change my very bullish stance, is breaks down through there. But that would be a big move down. In any case, I wouldn't expect such a big move this week, not without, by the way, a major catalyst. There would need to be some kind of news event, I believe, to create such a big move down in a short space of time. Otherwise, the markets continues to look bullish. I'm looking to be trading on the long side across most of these index markets and on the Russell throughout this week. Happy trading all. I hope that helps, and I hope that you have a wonderful week's trading. I will speak to you next Monday.